Did you read the Triad yesterday, by the way?
How could I have missed it? There was everybody kept sending it to me. And so people kept being like, he's talking about you in here. Like, make sure you read it. I got your back.
Did you just look at the screenshots, or did you actually read the piece?
Oh, between some, I got the gist between all the screenshots that were sent.
Hello, everyone. This is JVL here with my best friend, Sarah Longwell, publisher of the Bulwark. One attack, two interpretations. Biden and Trump both make the January 6th riot a political rallying cry. Wah, wah. It's just one attack and two interpretations. You know, when will the liberal media stop trying to hammer conservatives and finally give conservatism a fair shake, Sarah? What do they have to do to finally get a break from these activists in the MSM?
Gotta hear both sides. That is spectacular. The problem is that we know that somewhere there's just a headline writer, right? Who's not probably the person who wrote the piece.
Oh, yeah. I shouldn't have singled out the author because the authors don't write headlines.
They don't write the headlines.
It's not your fault.
There's some, I don't want to be disparaging, but somewhere there's a person, probably a young person, who didn't think that hard about it and thought they were being a little clever by setting up this juxtaposition of, because what they mean is that Biden is using January 6th to say that Trump is unfit. And Trump is using January 6th as, hey, the election was stolen and I'm still talking about it. The problem is that by using the word interpretations, right, it is like, well, it could have been a tour, a Capitol tour. That's one interpretation. Could have been some patriots needing to be heard in the people's house. And registering their dissatisfaction in a peaceful way. Or it could have been an attempt to overthrow the government because people didn't like the results of an election.
So this is a Sarah and JVL special because I would bet that one of the things which drove you into the arms of conservatism was the idea of moral relativism and factual relativism as a young
this to be true.
Adult, right?
We are a generation of conservative that was shaped by things like Closing of the American Mind.
And Rigoberta Menchú. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
Rigoberta Menchú, who won the Nobel Prize, and it turns out all of her biography was made up, and the liberal defense of her was, well, there were larger truths. Okay, sure, maybe there were larger truths, but her truths were wrong, and
were false,
right.
Objectively. And this is sort of the point when the Claudine Gay conversation happens, right? And I say, objective standards matter. It is in part because I was raised on the idea of the whole, we have to structural, no, there are objective standards. There is right and wrong. It is a thing that it is the reason that when people are like, well, was it hard to break away and, oppose Trump? And I was like, no, it wasn't hard at all. Because you're like, this is wrong. This is a bad person. This is objectively wrong. And I was raised on the idea as a conservative that objective truth not only matters, but is essential.
And exists.
To how we orient the world.
It exists.
Yeah. Right.
There are many things in life which are shades of gray, but black and white do exist. Right. This is not everything is black and white. This is not. But the conservative position.
That you can know truth. That you can know certain truths.
I mean small c conservative. I don't mean Heritage Foundation conservative. But I mean, as I was writing about yesterday. All right. One more headline. If you will indulge me. Report. Trump businesses received $7.8 million in foreign payments during presidency. This story also
is it a million with an M or
million with an M? Yes. Now. I think it is important to note
loose change in the couch
that these are not payments from foreign nationals. It's not like some dude in Qatar was renting a room these are from foreign governments. The government of Saudi Arabia, the government of Qatar. And would you like to guess, because you had not seen this story, so this is a live, legit, no kayfabe question. which foreign government contributed the most millions of dollars to Donald Trump's businesses during his time as president? That's the other important thing here. We're not talking about like back in 2012 or last year in 2023. We're talking during
Russia.
No.
Okay, hold on. Saudi Arabia.
No, they're on the list, but what is it that they always complain about Joe Biden getting?
Oh,
rich
China.
from? Yeah.
China. Or as someone in my New Hampshire focus group said yesterday, China. Nikki Haley. I don't think she's good on China.
The extent to which everything is projection is like at some point it's so on the nose that I feel like we have to stop. But no, the problem is that Hunter Biden and the Biden crime family, what they did was that loan that you can still make money from loaning somebody for cash for a down payment on a car. I mean, sure, Joe Biden was a private citizen, but Hunter got his money from his work with China that he used to pay his dad back. And so, it was all, but then it comes to this and just crickets.
Well, I think that, people are going to have to dig in and make this an issue if they want it to be an issue. See, this is where the right really has an advantage. Is they just have like a gajillion people who want to sit online and come up with like they go through everything to come up with theories and share them. It's just a really active world that I'm not sure exists as much on the left. Of like, boy, I have the sustained energy to talk about the $7 million that came mostly from China to Donald Trump.
I mean, that's one advantage, but the other advantage is the force field of shit. Because even if everybody on the left and in the mainstream media could spend like days of their lives obsessing over this, 72 hours from now, he's going to call somebody else vermin or call for the execution of jaywalkers or something. Like there's going to be something else in a day or two.
That's true.
There's just always another thing. And that is
it's absolutely right.
The extent to which that is a shield and to which our capacity, here's the deepest point, right? People get exhausted by Trump, right? This is a phenomenon that we've seen in many elections now. But I think they also get exhausted of being exhausted about Trump. See where I'm going there?
It's an enigma wrapped inside a riddle.
But I'm serious about it.
No, I know. I wanted to say something about this focus group that I was listening to from New Hampshire. We're doing all the early states.
Did any of them talk with a good New Hampshire accent?
They did. They talked. Actually, there was one great one.
You can't get that from here.
He said, we asked, they were, and so this group, this was 2-time Trump voters, and they love Trump. And they're like, we asked about DeSantis. We were asking about DeSantis and Haley. And with DeSantis, people were like, they were kind of doing halvesies. Except for one guy was like, I don't like him. He's got a punchable face, and I don't like him. In his New Hampshire accent. It's really funny.
Gonna go down to the package store, get me some Miller Lights, and then I'm gonna punch that DeSantis in the face.
I can't do these accents, but it was just a guy being like, "What do you think of Ron DeSantis?" I don't know. He's got a really punchable face, and I don't like him. It's just great.
That's great.
But there was a woman, and on a more serious note, there's a woman who was saying that, I know Trump's no angel. I know he's had some things with women. But it's not like Biden, where there's rape, and there's all these other allegations, and there's all this stuff with Hunter Biden. And I was on MSNBC last night with Ali Velshi, and I was trying to explain, like, the Earth too. Like, the reason it's so hard for people, and the reason I do all the focus group stuff, is that people, they're like, but we're working off the same information, so how can you believe this? And I'm just telling you, there's a different, like, it's like walking into a different reality as you listen to people. Like, there's the normal stuff they say where they're complaining about the price of eggs, and then there's the really weird way that, like, a guy in the Iowa group is like, that's the other thing about Trump that I love. He brought religion back. And you think, oh, okay, what do you do with a world in which people think Trump brought religion back and that Joe Biden is definitely a rapist and, worse than Trump in terms of sexual morality. It's a tough one.
I genuinely don't know.
We just keep making each other speechless.
And here, I'll segue. It is one thing for these idiot mouth breathers who, frankly, I'm amazed that somebody who walks around with like that is able to hold a job. So if somebody said to you, yeah, I think Joe Biden has raped people, would you say, yes, you are probably competent to manage the inventory of my 7-Eleven? Would you think that person was competent?
I personally wouldn't. But first of all, I don't know that people lead with that in their job interviews. But, these are people living
just cognitively.
Otherwise perfectly normal lives.
But how? How is the world so soft that people that dumb are able to support themselves and make a living? I honestly don't know. Because I don't know, man. I feel like the world's a pretty tough place out there. And
yeah, but not quite 50% of America. It's not 50%. It's maybe 30, but it's just, and they're geographically concentrated in ways that allow people to, you watch the dynamics of the groups. And one of the things that I do that I think is sort of different than a way other people did quals. I decided a long time ago we were only going to do groups that agreed with each other because you wanted to create the safe space. Yep. Because you do mixed groups and people fight and they clam up. But in this group, this woman was going on a whole thing and was basically asking, at the end of it, and she was like, and I'll stop now, and that's my thing, and I'll take a bow. They do feed off of each other in this way. She knew she was in company, and they agreed with her, right? She gets attaboys for the degree to which she was going after Biden.
To be clear, I don't want to be misinterpreted by people who are listening. When I say the cognitive thing, I don't mean the decision to support Trump because you like this or that or whatever. That's fine. I think it's stupid for lots of reasons. But I mean, when I talk about cognition, I mean walking around believing that the inputs you've gotten describe a reality in which Joe Biden is a rapist. That's I don't if that's how, I don't understand that. That's what I mean. I mean the inability to sort of take in information and process it in rational ways.
Yeah, but this is where the Trump machine has always been on top of the cloud of smoke, which is to say, Tara Reid, who clearly has some relationship with Russia that's weird, right? I do get just a smidgy conspiracy theory around some of these things because they're so bizarre. But I think it's pretty unequivocal that Tara Reid was not raped by Joe Biden.
Yeah.
And so she comes out of nowhere, drops this claim, and then hustles off to Russia afterwards where they're making her a nice little home. That stuff's super weird to me.
Meanwhile, Donald Trump was actually on trial for sexual assault in which evidence was presented in a public court that was covered by everybody in the world, right? How many months ago was this? 8 months ago?
Yeah.
And a jury of his peers...
And he was found civilly liable.
Found him, and as the judge explained, they found as a legal matter that he had committed sexual assault. And
right. We also all heard him out of his... I don't know about the E. Jean Carroll stuff, but I do know that he is on tape
locker
talking
room
about,
talk, yeah.
Yeah, locker room, doing a lot of locker room. Anyway, the point is... My point is just these alternate realities. Hey, guys, I know you want to hear more of this. You want more time with me and JVL, right?
So much more.
JVL's got more darkness to bring.
I want to tell people why we're all going to die. But to get that, they've got to pay.
Bulwark Plus, guys. Go subscribe.